don't smoke illegal. I got more slaps than the Beatles. Foreign shit running on diesel, dawg. Playing with my name, that shit is lethal, dawg. Who you see? What? Don Corleone. Trust me, at the top it isn't lonely. Everybody acting like they know me, dawg. Don't just say it down, you gotta show me what you gotta do. Bring the clip back empty. You asked to see the ball, so they sent me, dawg. I just broke her off with a 10-piece, dawg.
It's a summer day, man. Hot as shit. Oh, is that for me?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, man. Very thoughtful.
You look sharp.
Americano with oat milk. Thank you. Before you ask me a question, I want to say this.
Yeah.
Oscar has a dirty little secret. He'll never admit this to you guys. Oscar sells all the good stuff for himself. So we just sat over there. He was asking me a dozen questions, right? What about this? What about that? I'm over here discussing ideas, giving him the playbook. You know what I'm saying? Giving him the secret sauce. And then once he's digested that secret sauce, then he turns on the camera. Let's see what question he's going to ask.
Ask those shitty questions.
And he's going to ask a shitty question. Make me look bad. All right, Oscar, we're listening. Go on.
How would you describe your role once an offer is accepted?
What's your role once an offer is accepted? I think the type of personality that really does well in this business is a sales sort of leaning personality. Someone that understands the fundamentals of sales. So what are the fundamentals of sales? First of all, you don't sell anything. What you do is you create desire in the other person, in the counterparty. Hermes, the luxury leather goods brand, okay, that's built initially around equestrians, okay? Most of their customers don't ride fucking horses, okay? Right? I got on some Hermes sneakers or loafers or whatever. I ain't never jumped on a horse's back. So why? Why did I buy these Hermes shoes? Why does anyone buy Hermes anything? It's because they have inspired desire. So how do you inspire desire? First, you have to make an emotional connection with the counterparty. You need to have some basic understanding of who they are, and more importantly, who do they wish to become, or who do they wish to represent themselves as. That's all part of sales. And what you then do is you put qualified people into what is typically described as a funnel. A funnel because it's shaped as a funnel, meaning it starts wide and it continuously gets narrower and narrower until what happens is a conversion, which is you go from a cold stranger, right, someone that you didn't know, no previous relationship, to a paying customer, a bona fide participant in your universe, okay, sales. Now, I say all of this to say what? When you're buying businesses, you're doing the exact same thing. You are approaching business owners, whether it is people that have raised their hand and said that they want to sell the business, or whether it is people that don't yet know that they've considered selling their business. You approach these people and you strike conversations with them. What are these conversations? Conversations of understanding, trying to understand what is the desired future that they wish for themselves, okay? Is it a retirement? Retirement being linked to, maybe they're sick and tired of showing up every day and getting kicked in the ass, okay? They want to go and relax somewhere, okay, to sunnier tides. Or maybe it is ambition. Maybe they've always wanted that feeling, that emotional point of being able to say, I have exited my business. I started, built, and exited a company. Maybe it's economic desires, right? Their children are of a certain age where they have economic obligations. They want to send them to Harvard, maybe, okay? Fancy ass private schools or something. Maybe they want to buy a boat. You need to understand the desires of these people because essentially you're selling them something. You're selling them the outcome that they want, whether it's retirement, whether it's money, or whether it's some kind of emotional achievement. And Oscar, your question is, once the offer is accepted, what is your role? Managing that desire and making sure that the level of desire remains high such that they don't fall out of the process. Don't be fooled. It's a painful process. Selling a business, buying a business, it's fucking painful. There's lawyers involved. They're turning over every single stone. There's personalities involved. People are emotional. Okay, it's a big deal. They might have built this company over 10, 20, 30 years. They don't know who you are. They didn't know you 6 months ago, 9 months ago, 12 months ago. Are you really the steward to take over their business? They don't know. It's an emotional experience. There's economic uncertainty. If it goes through, there's a, rainbow, right? There's money at the end of the rainbow. If it doesn't go through, what happens? Maybe they've already made commitments, financial commitments. So once an offer is accepted, you maintain that level of desire and keep it high such that they're willing to go to war with you. That's what you do. Cheers. So Oscar, I want to give a big shout out to my boy, my dog, Mr. Peter Kabiki. He sent me a message yesterday. Peter, you remember Peter, right? Oscar will do a little thing here where he shows Peter. Peter just took over as the CEO of a $2 billion maritime shipping asset lease company. So now Peter Kabiki leases $100 million ships for a living. How's that for a job?
It's fucking cool.
Congratulations, Peter fucking Kabiki, my guy.
It's like the Succession theme song.
Oh, 100%.
We need that one.
Pure Succession. I have no idea what Peter's been up to the last 6 months, but I know it's been some boardroom shenaniganry going on, you know what I'm saying? And even signing documents, and now he controls $2 billion worth of ships. Fucking crazy.
What is the most common issues in the due diligence process?
Issues with an S at the end. That symbolizes you're requesting an answer of more than one issue. Let me give you the largest issue in the due diligence process. Quality of financial information. The size of these businesses typically is such that they don't have access to world-class chief financial officers, meaning typically the business owner relies on a third-party accountant to do their management accounts, and the business owner typically doesn't put much value on those accounts being accurate. Why? Because they own the business, they draw out dividends, it makes money, who cares? But when you're buying the business, you need to at least know the quality of earnings, you need to at least know that the financial representations are true and accurate, and I think the biggest issue is quality of financial information.
How do I look like one of those guys in Mad Men? Remember that show about those advertising guys? And they would always sit down looking real sophisticated. What I imagine is a glass of whiskey. So this ain't whiskey. This is Pepsi Max. You would even think I was sponsored by Pepsi Max, okay? And I'm not an advertising man. I'm not one of the Mad Men. I'm just a guy being, interviewed by Oscar. What's your question? How do you manage all stakeholders in the process from offer acceptance to closing? Because you talk about sales.
Yep.
But you're not like pitching.
The thing is this. In order to be trusted by anyone, you need to be trustworthy. And what does being trustworthy mean? It means being worthy of trust. The first question is, how do you become worthy of trust? Because trust is the glue that keeps the relationship together as you journey through this path, which is an exit for the seller and an investment for you. So how do you become worthy of trust? Okay, first of all, don't bullshit anyone. Be honest. Tell them it's going to be hard because it is. Tell them the deal's gonna fall apart at some point because it is. Tell them that the banks will probably make unreasonable demands because that's the truth. Therefore, you prepare them for the battle because this may be your first acquisition. It may not be your first acquisition, but in all likelihood, it's their first exit. It's probably their first time selling a business because they're in the business of whatever business they were in. They're not in the business of selling businesses. So there's a lot of uncertainty that they'll be experiencing. Now, typically they would have, advisors in their team made up of, let's say, lawyers, right? On one hand, legal advisors, but also, let's say, the brokers, if they had formerly listed it for sale, would be part of their advisory team. And those would be the people sort of guiding them through that process. But even though they have advisors, they'll still be looking to you. They'll still be looking in your eyes to try to see, is this character worthy of trust? Do I trust them? Do I trust them with my business? Do I trust them that they're not going to screw me on the terms? Do I trust them that they're going to do everything in their effort to make good on the deferred payments after the fact? Do I trust this person? And I think the way that trust is received is trust is earned. So how do you manage these people? It's not a circus where you're like managing circus lions with a whip and a cane, okay? Walking them around the damn circle of death. You know what I'm saying? It ain't a fucking circus. This is real life. So be worthy of trust. Be honest. Be upfront. If you have insecurities yourself, maybe you can share some of those, right? You can say to them, look, it's my first deal, man. I mean, we're both in this together. We're going to figure this out together. And that's how you manage them. So it's not sort of sales in the sleazy way. Sales has a bad rep because we're so used to the typical used car salesman with the brown shoes and the shoelaces tight, you know what I'm saying? With the slick hair who's just trying to get you in that car, irrespective of whether it's good for your credit, irrespective of whether the car is going to be running in 6 months, irrespective of if it's good for your needs. But that's not what real sales is, okay? Real sales is fulfilling desire. Show them the desire, maintain that desire, show them how you intend to fulfill that desire, because again, it's their desire, and be worthy of trust. Now, everything I've said here is transferable.
irrespective of the sector, irrespective of the size, irrespective of the scope. That remains true. It's a universal truth. That's called wisdom. The difference between wisdom and knowledge is wisdom is universal. It's true today, it'll be true in 100 years. Pull on the levers of wisdom, and there's some wisdom for your ass.
I have a follow-up question. How much time do you spend on managing people in this process?
I'll wait a second, let my hombres and hombreesses walk past Oscar's fancy ass microphone, because that microphone picks everything up.
It's a sensitive one.
It's a sensitive microphone.
Yeah.
Microphone is in his feelings, talking about, I'm listening to every damn body. Okay, so your question was, how much time does one spend on it, or how much time do I? Because those are two different things.
How much time would you advise other people to spend on it?
All the time. What else you gonna do with your time? You got something more important than literally buying a business that's gonna change your life? You have somewhere else to be? You got other things to do? At the end of the day, I asked Oscar a question. Oscar was like, hey, Yusufa, what do you do when it gets hard? I said, keep going. Because I said, at the end of the day, Oscar, you're a businessman. Therefore, you ain't got but two paths. Path number one, you're going to build a business from scratch, okay? And honestly, the odds of you building that to success, extremely thin, based on statistics, but also based on, Oscar, are you really, going to be one of the outliers that's going to build the next Google? I don't know, Oscar. I mean, I ain't saying nothing against you. If I'm a betting man, I might not place my bets there. Or the other option is what? Buying a business, a company that already makes money, okay? It generates millions in revenue. It already has employees. It already has a track record. And trying to convince and compel the owner of that business to transact with you so that you become the new owner of that business. If your ambition is to be a business owner, you ain't got but two paths, red pill, blue pill. So the question is, which path are you going to choose? If you decide the path is to buy a business, then this is the price you have to pay. You have to suffer a little bit. You have to work through uncertainties. You need trial and error, okay? You need them cold, sleepless nights. By the way, I'm still going through that. It doesn't stop. I've been doing this 8 years now. I done bought 7 businesses, and I still have anxiety. I still suffer. It doesn't get any easier, okay? You maybe do it with a bit more grace than in your first year, with your first deal, okay? So that's the best you can hope for, is grace and a little bit more confidence, this feeling inside of you knowing it's all gonna be okay. Because at the end of the day, probably is gonna be okay. Cheers to the people that understand that sales is not sleazy, it's about increasing desire. Cheers to you. 0 to 100. I got my board meeting in 1 minute. Holla at your boy.